our families, our communities, and our world at large. I hope you are inspired by today's show. And I want to ask a question. Don't you just love the autumn season? Here in New England, we are seeing nature disclose all of her hidden beauty. We're also wearing our scarves and our boots and our soulmate socks, and it's a yummy time of year. The leaves are changing. The grass is starting to be covered by a sea of orange leaves. The sky is clear and clean. The air is fresh and crisp. It's a time of renewal, of embracing change. My whole life has been one of change. I have moved too many times to count, made new friends, and moved away from old friends, welcomed new experiences, and held on to treasured memories. Embracing change has encouraged new ways of thinking, living, and being in this world. One of the most significant changes in my life has been my own spiritual awakening. I was raised going to church on Sunday and trained to follow guidelines as laid out by the church. Yet, as a child, I found my deepest inspiration while playing in the woods. Having tea parties with imaginary fairies, I felt safe and just surrounded by the beauty, the wonder, the magic of nature. As I went through challenging times in my life, I learned to appreciate the value of those who were there to assist, both seen and unseen. I discovered a meditative type of prayer that involved a state of quiet listening. Most people pray by outwardly chanting or reciting prayers that were taught to them without really understanding or relating to the words. Others only pray when in need instead of when in gratitude. When we learn to go within to quietly listen, we can hear, sense, or feel the guidance of amazing spiritual helpers. As we regularly offer prayers of gratitude, we raise our vibration to a level where we can truly communicate with the unseen world. Over the years, there have been many guiding spirits who've been with me on this journey through life. Mother Mary was ever there with me as a single mother. She would hold, comfort, and advise me when I would ask how I may best serve my children. In time, I made connections with several archangels for protection and healing. They would nudge me to embrace and accept the thoughts that came from them. I learned to welcome their insight with gratitude and grace. Now I encourage my clients to be open to communicate with this unseen magical world when they're in a trance state in hypnosis. They become able to connect with passed over parents, pets, and dear friends. It's always a blessing to watch as people expand their awareness to the spiritual world that influences our lives without us even being fully aware of it. They've been speaking to me and through me these past several years to encourage me to share the insights I was honored to receive, to help save humanity from destruction before it's too late. I was surprised and honored to receive messages through a very special client some years ago to help people wake up, to listen for themselves, to walk away from anger, hate, blame, and shame, to experience their own awakening. I am impressed with the sheer numbers of people who are truly on a path of ascension toward their higher purpose, their authentic self, their individual sovereignty, which leads to collective ascension. It's not easy to walk away from old patterns, habits, and beliefs. Yet, when you step into your true self, your vibrational frequency shifts, and you'll be surprised and delighted at who is attracted to your new energy. You will find yourself surrounded by brothers and sisters of a higher calibration energy who are truly there for you without a personal agenda. These true lightworkers are gathering together with pure intention to hold and support one another on this path of light. You are listening to Inspiring Hope with Lois Herman at WSMN 1590 and 95.3 FM. We're here every Sunday morning, and I hope that you're getting something from some of these messages as I'm being called to share. Because there are really many people who are very aware of the messages they receive from the angelic or etheric world. Most of the messages are similar in nature. They serve to support and encourage each of us as we endeavor to discern for ourselves what is real and what is illusion in the world around us. There are many wolves in sheep's clothing that prey on the weak, the angry, the ones filled with the low-level energy of hate. There are ones who blindly follow others of like minds and share a common hatred without really knowing why. The guides are encouraging us to look beyond the illusion and walk away from any figure who is espousing hate as an answer. We must look to those who support and embrace peace in their actions. We must wake up to a higher level of consciousness and take responsibility for protecting our world from hate before it's too late. The Chronicles of Hope books embody the messages that I received and offer a recipe for what we can do to be aware, to shift our energy to the positive, individually and collectively. If you're interested in learning more, you can purchase the books on Amazon or on the chroniclesofhope.net website. You can also join our community discussion gatherings that are held via Zoom on the second and fourth Thursdays of each month. We're offering them around 1 and 7 both times. You can register also there at the Chronicles of Hope website, the community page. And if you have read the book, please, I ask you to go to Amazon and leave a review. Share with me your thoughts. Share with others your thoughts. We've got to get this message around the world as best we can. Together, our mission is to shift humanity's negative energy as catalysts for positive change. And thank you for joining with us to spread the word of peace. You are listening to Inspiring Hope with Lois Herman at WSMN 1590 and 95.3 FM. For this moment of time, slow down with me, take a breath and a time out. Take a slow, gentle breath in through your nose and exhale slowly through your mouth as if blowing through a straw. This allows your body to oxygenate and relax. And while your body is relaxing, calm your busy mind by thinking about things that give you joy. Whether actively walking along a sandy, warm beach or imagining a magical, colorful woodland path, swinging in your favorite hammock, or peacefully rocking in your boat. Take a moment and relax. It's important to counteract any negative thoughts or energy that you encounter by finding ways to shift your thoughts, which shifts your energy. Connect with nature and memories that give you joy. Listen to comforting, soothing music or enjoy songs that make you sing along or dance. Watch a funny movie or show. Surround yourself with good friends. Choose to shift your energy to be more positive, uplifted, and joyful. No matter what is going on around you, you can actively choose to be at peace. And it is important that you surround yourself with people who lift your energy. Distance yourself from those who bring your energy down. As you lift your energy, you have the ability to communicate in this unseen world around us. Aren't you curious about the unseen world? Would you like answers to things you've questioned? Spiritual communication comes naturally for some. My guest today shares inspiring stories and insights that she has gained over the many years of hearing the whispers of the angels. She knows firsthand about how amazingly powerful spirit communication can be. I'm delighted to introduce an amazingly positive light worker, an angel whisperer. Please help me welcome Cheryl Davey. Hi, Cheryl. Thank you for being in the studio with me today.
Thank you so much, Lois. It's been my pleasure talking with you this week and preparing for today. I really look forward to sharing some very nice inspiration.
Yes, thank you. So tell us a little bit about yourself. How did who are you first, and then how you came to be an angel whisperer?
Well, thank you. I am a mother of 2 grown daughters. I am a grandmother of an almost 4-year-old. Excuse me, my day job is a catering manager. I love being surrounded by food, talking about food all day. And I over 22 years ago is when I started with my angel communications. I was going through a little bit of a challenging time in my life. My faith has always been very important to me, and I kept praying for resolution in some issues, and I was not seeing the type of answers that I was requesting. So God certainly has a way of answering all our prayers, however, not exactly the way we thought.
Exactly, right?
So God had led me to a particular book that explained how to communicate with angels, and I was curious. So, and curious is absolutely the cornerstone of everything.
I agree.
It
Absolutely.
really is. So every time you're curious about something, there's a way to get an answer. So I read the book. I started the method that was described in the book, and lo and behold, my first message was be patient. So the communication method that I use is through writing and journaling.
Okay.
I sit quietly, say a prayer that God sends me the information that He wants me to get, and I write down a question, and then along comes these thoughts that enter my head. So I just write, and it's almost like a dictation, almost
Sure.
like a form of dictation.
Right.
And the messages are always beautiful, always inspirational, always comforting, and that's basically how things started. Then I just went from question to question to question, and here we are 22 years later, and I have 48 journals full of inspirational messages for myself and for others. So between inspiration and hope and wisdom, I feel very fortunate.
Wow. And I think that the writing down is important. That's one of the things that I do when I'm working with clients and they're getting these messages. I'm just the scribe, I help them to tap into that unseen world, and these amazing messages come through, and I'm busily writing them down so that when they come out of trance, I can help them to remember. But isn't it wonderful when we don't censor it, when we don't question it, when we stay in that state of curiosity, how we are open, and then the messages just flow.
Exactly. And some people ask me, well, how do you know that they're not your messages that are coming through versus what Spirit wants you to get? And the way I answer that is the wording of the messages is a little bit of a different language than I would use.
Correct.
And they do have a sense of humor. They'll make up their own words.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. So
Yes.
like knowingness, and that just is the first one that pops into my head. But it's very interesting, and I enjoy the fact that they have a sense of humor.
Is that so true? I can't tell you how many times in the process of doing clearings and energy work and working with the archangels or Jesus, they do come through with these things that they often will say. Jesus, one of his messages, lighten up. You take yourselves way too seriously. You're here to enjoy life and enjoy each other, because as you raise your vibrational energy with joy, you're able to communicate even more with them. But he often will make, not poke fun, but just lighten the mood.
Absolutely.
With wonderful levity. And yes.
I remember a particular time when I was writing a question to gain some information, and I probably had asked that question at least once or twice before. The message that came through was, Cheryl, stop thinking like a human. It's time to think about the information that you've gained over the years and start putting those practices in place to answer your own question, because you have all that information already inside.
And that is so true. We're hearing a lot these days about 5D, not 5G, 5D consciousness, that there's three-dimensional reality that we live here on this planet. But as we ascend, that is the process of ascending into the fifth dimensional awareness, where we're no longer thinking quite like a human. Human is the 3D. The 5D is thinking more as you are a spiritual being having a human experience.
Exactly.
So looking down from putting all of that spiritual awareness together, ascending to that higher level, gives us a different vantage point. Would you not agree?
I absolutely do. In fact, that is my favorite quote. We are not human beings having just a brief spiritual experience. We are truly spiritual beings having a temporary human experience.
Exactly.
And to me, that really sums up our existence.
Yes.
And if people would think about that, and it shifts perspective.
It does, doesn't it?
It really does, absolutely.
Yeah, I was meditating the other day, and a message came to me because I've had as I mentioned earlier, there's been a lot of change in my life, and what I was told was that was part of my job, was just to plant a seed and move on, plant a seed and move on. So I wasn't necessarily committed to one specific group. And so as I have changed careers, changed my path, changed my residence, it gives me an opportunity to meet new people and to grow myself. And as I grow and share, it's planting seeds so that we are experiencing all aspects of life. Yeah.
Yep. And it goes back to the curiosity as well. Sometimes you wonder why you're in the place that you are, or the situation that you are, and it brings out the life lesson.
Yes.
That absolutely helps us. And sometimes we don't like going through those changes at the time, but once you're on the other side, your perspective has shifted forever, and you're grateful for even sometimes the challenges that you've been given, because your perspective, like I mentioned, has changed, and it helps you become stronger and more courageous.
It helps us to awaken. I feel like I used to think about, well, they're lessons I had to learn, and to me, they're lessons that help me remember. Because we come into this life without remembering who we really are and that spiritual being, and then as we go through the different crises and the different joys. There's the two ends of the spectrum. As we go through these different life experiences, shall we say, they serve to help us awaken to who we truly are.
That's right. That's right.
And we are listening to Inspiring Hope with Lois Herman at WSMN 1590 AM and 95.3 FM. And I'm here this morning with an angel whisperer, Cheryl Davey. So Cheryl, before we talk a little bit further, how can people find you? Is there a website or is there a Facebook page? How do people find you?
Yes, thank you. I have a brand new website. It is Cheryl, Cheryl, M like Mary, Davey, Davey.com. You can also reach me through whisperedbyangels.net, and I'll spell that for you. It's whisperedbyangels.net. Whispered by Angels, all one word. And I'd love to hear from anyone who's curious or would like an angel message or a writing.
So tell us a little bit about some of your angel messages that you've received for yourself and for other people.
Sure. My writing allows me to get messages from angels, spirit guides, loved ones from heaven, historical figures from heaven, and I am contacted by individuals who perhaps lost a family member, recent or not, and I am able to connect with that individual through heaven, and they are able to bring forth such comfort and such joy that really resonates with people's hearts and gives them such peace, knowing that their loved one is safe, doing well, currently, always surrounding the family members and everything. So I feel very, very fortunate to be able to do that. I am also able to get messages from pets that have
Yes.
crossed over. A little over a year ago, well, actually almost 2 years ago, our beloved Westie, Maddie, went to heaven. And within a couple of hours, I said, that's it. I have to get my journal out, get a message, make sure that she's all right. And it was a beautiful experience for her. We wanted to make sure that she was safe and with some family members. And she said, one of the most beautiful things that she said was, when I got here, St. Francis was so proud of my life while I was with you.
Mm-hmm.
And she came here to learn from us, and she came into our family to teach us some very valuable life lessons as well.
Isn't that amazing?
So,
yes,
it is.
Our pets are there by design.
Absolutely.
They choose us as we choose them.
We certainly,
and I
yes.
love that because one of the things that I do is I help people also through trance to communicate with their loved ones. And oftentimes, if I find pets that are lost, sometimes they're not all in heaven. They're not all in the light. And the person that I most often call on to come get the pets is St. Francis.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Yes.
and ask him to come down and take, even when I'm driving on the road and I see a dead squirrel or a fox or something on the side of the road, I'll ask the angels or St. Francis, please come down and take that little spirit, make sure it's safe in the light.
Right.
Yeah.
I do the same thing on the highway. I ask
Yeah.
St. Francis to keep them away from the road, keep them safe.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they do. They will.
Yes.
That's the thing is if when we learn to communicate in this unseen world, it makes our whole vista change.
That's right. It does.
Yeah, we're not just here in this third dimensional physical reality. There's a whole nother reality out there, and it makes it sort of a treasure hunt, a magical existence.
There is so much going on, much more than meets the eye.
Absolutely.
And with positive energy, faith, and faith can be in whatever you choose. It just helps you to look at things with a different lens.
Absolutely.
You tend to see the more the benefits of things, the positive energy behind things. And two people can look at the same exact situation, and there's always different ways of looking at things.
Right.
Like Anne Frank had said, every morning when I get out of bed, I have a choice on how I want to perceive my day, and that is inspirational, and even words that we use is very the words that we use to describe things or even request things from through prayers or whatever. The words are very, very important that we use.
I agree with you on that. Tell us a little bit more about that.
Sure.
Because I totally agree with you on that. So share
Yes.
your thoughts on that.
Sure. I have a perfect example. A couple of weeks ago, we had planned to take my grandson to Clark's Trading Post to see the bear show. He's almost 4. He was all excited. I was watching the weather report. One day it said it was going to be good. The next day it was maybe going to rain. So I said, that's it. I'm going to set my intentions now, and I'm going to ask for a clear, dry day. And I was very particular not to choose the words, please don't rain. Please don't rain, please don't rain, because I know I'm sending out the word rain to the universe, and they're not hearing don't rain, they're hearing rain. So the words I chose were, please let's have a clear, dry day. We had a beautiful day.
Wonderful.
Absolutely beautiful.
And what did your grandson think of the bears?
Oh my gosh, he's still talking about it.
Oh, yeah.
He really is.
Yeah.
Yeah, we had a wonderful, wonderful
They're
day.
magical.
Yes.
You're exactly right. As a hypnotist and an NLP master trainer, what I teach my clients is the mind does not know the word not. Don't think about the fall. Don't think about the election. Don't think about your grandson. You have to think about them to not think about them. So the subconscious mind does not hear or register the word not. So we always, exactly what you said, we must always tell our subconscious mind what we are desiring, what we wish for very clearly. And when we not ourselves, we end up getting exactly what we don't want.
Exactly.
Because that's the way that the subconscious mind and the universe works. Yeah. Beautiful.
Yes.
Beautiful, beautiful.
Very helpful.
Well, everybody, you're listening to WSMN 1590 and 95.3 FM. This is Inspiring Hope with Lois Herman. We're here every Sunday morning celebrating just the awareness of the beautiful, wonderful things of life and celebrating everyday people who are all around us, who bring us inspiring thoughts and messages and hope. So do you have any inspiration that you would like to share? I'm here with Cheryl Davey, who is an angel whisperer, a spirit communicator. And do you have any insight that you would like to share about how people can stay more positive, especially in this crazy world we live in?
Sure, I would love to do that. I think positive thoughts, and it is a bit challenging right now. I personally limit how much access I have to the news. So attitude is one thing. Also, looking for the signs around us is very helpful. There are signs from spirit all around us, whether we recognize them or not. One is, certainly paying attention to words. Being out in nature is very, very helpful. I don't spend enough time doing that, but I think with the fall coming, I think, watching the foliage shift and watching the animals scurrying around trying to prepare, there are messages. Even walking down the street, if a rabbit, I've used this example a couple of times recently, but even if you see a rabbit crossing the street in front of you, there's a message there. You can go home and Google the spiritual significance of a rabbit, and that animal totem will have a message for you. So there are, you can pay attention to the numbers. If you see a series of 3 repetitive numbers, there's a message there. If you have a scent of someone's perfume that immediately gets your attention, that's your angels or your spirit guide's way of letting you know that a loved one is close by. It could be the perfume, it could have been the perfume of your grandmother, and it will immediately give you the thought, grandma must be nearby.
Right, exactly.
And food, like scents, like food is very big with me. And food can certainly trigger memories, and that will give you positive reinforcement that you're not alone. We're never, ever alone.
Exactly.
We have always a guidance team near us that we can call on at any time.
One of the things I like to say is our loved ones have moved to a different state. It's as if they've moved to Alaska. We can't see them, but that does not mean that they're not there.
Exactly.
That they are always there to call on, and we just need to pay attention. And I also say it's kind of like you don't see electricity, but you don't really want to stick something in that socket. So the angelic and the spiritual world is very real.
Absolutely.
And you were talking about an experience with something on your windshield?
Oh, very recently, yes.
Yes.
I was driving to work the other day, and the picture is on my Facebook page. I don't know if it's on my website yet, but it will be posted. There was an image in a cloud of a very tall, winged being, an angel. And that was after I had been involved with a prayer group that is really sending out positive energy and vibes for the universe. And so the angel showed up the very next morning. And I had also said some prayers early that morning before my drive to work. So I just took that as a real affirmation that they hear us very, very loud and clearly when we're putting out good intentions and putting out the well-being for the highest good for all of us.
Absolutely.
Yes.
And the signs can come in some very strange ways too. So they can come as seeing the angel wings. I often see angel wings in the clouds or different beautiful nature will show us a lot of things. But nature also showed you something the other day in the form of bird poop.
That's right. It did. Yes, that's right. So I was writing in my journal outside. It was a beautiful morning, and I was getting a message from Spirit. And all of a sudden, I saw something on my glasses. Something splattered right on my journal, and it landed on my clothes. And I'm thinking, what the heck was that? Then once I realized what it was, I had to laugh. So I immediately went inside and I Googled, okay, what happens when bird poops on you? And it is a sign of good luck
Yes.
and prosperity
Yeah.
or abundance. And within a couple of days later, I had an unexpected check arrive that I was not planning on at all. So I'm not wishing that on anyone, not the first part of that story, but definitely abundance and blessings.
Again, it's about your perspective, because many
Absolutely.
people would just get angry about it.
That's
but
right.
when you come from a place of curiosity and a place of humor,
Yes.
I remember one of the sayings as I was growing up down south. There was a bunch of, one of the favorite sayings was, "There's a lot of luck in bird shit." So whenever I see that on the windshield or wherever,
Yes.
it's like, okay, there must be some prosperity coming here.
That's
So we're
right.
being blessed.
That's right. Yes, yes. You can always put that positive spin on
We've
it.
got to. We've got to turn it around and turn it around into the positive.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to, the other thing that you spoke about is talking to specific people. And you as a caterer who has a love for food, and you've got all these amazing messages you're talking about. You probably have a dozen books you could write. So is there someone, you want to talk about this amazing spirit that you've been communicating with?
I would love to, yes. I don't know how much time you have, but
you've
I'm
got
just
plenty
kidding.
of time.
So I would say about a year ago, I got a message from my angels and guides that suggested that I try to contact a chef in spirit who might want to give a perspective on where we see the food trends going. There are so many diets out there now with healthy foods and extreme diets that omit one aspect of the diet out and incorporate something else. Anyway, so I thought to myself, oh, I would love to contact a chef from a French chef in heaven. So I thought, well, I don't know if some of the chefs would be able to translate through English or not. And then they came back and they said, why don't you try to contact Julia Child?
I love it.
So I thought that would be perfect, especially growing up in the Boston area. Julia Child was part of our Channel 2 upbringing. So I wrote and I requested to see if Julia Child would be interested in completing an article with me. And she came through loud and clear. I could feel her energy. You could hear her voice. I don't necessarily hear, but it's a voice in my head. But it had enthusiasm, and she was so grateful that I had contacted her because she
Sure.
still wants to be heard.
Yes.
Her personality was just very much the way it was when she was here, and she, of course, had lots to say. So between the two of us, she and I have completed an 11-page article, which is on it kind of an interview format, and we realized that she and I had been to some of the beautiful markets in France together. And I said to her, in my writing to her, I said, if you and I had met at a different time and place, I said, we would have been the greatest of friends. And she said to me, and it was very touching, she said, you would have been the daughter that I would have liked to have had.
Aww.
Because of our love for food, an appreciation for France and French culture and that. So I am currently looking for a publisher to print, get that article out in
Yes.
print. But it did share lots of food trends and information, and with a shifted perspective, given where she is in spirit.
Are you free to
So-
share at least one of her suggestions?
Certainly. She has said that her view of our new food trends is to work with more of the ancient grains.
Right.
And we're starting to see these incorporated into our society now
Absolutely.
that we probably hadn't heard of before.
Right.
And another little piece of wisdom that she shared, it's not so much about the food as it is as who we're sharing the food with.
This is so true.
Yes.
And one of the things that I shared with you, I lived 6 years in Europe, and when we would have like a dinner, it would be a lot of smaller portions.
Yes.
Americans, we tend to supersize. Everything is really big,
Right.
and there's not always as much flavor in it. But the European and the Asian way of eating is smaller portions with a lot of punch and flavor and conversation.
Yes.
Yeah, you might share a bottle of wine, but it's over a period of hours because you're dialoguing, you're conversing, you're exchanging, you're really enjoying each other's company. So food is a process of enjoyment of
Yes.
company.
Yes.
So
And not rushing.
right.
Yes.
So if you're going to have a little bit of chocolate, because the Europeans have fabulous chocolate, but they don't have this great big honking piece of chocolate cake with ice cream. It's a little tiny taste.
Yes.
And so if we just enjoy the different flavors instead of the big portions, we can enjoy our food more and weigh less.
Yes. Yes. Exactly.
And have a
Exactly.
healthier body and spirit even.
Exactly.
That is such a fun story. I can't wait to see your article in print. And if anybody's out there is listening and would be interested in a culinary article channeled from Julia Childs, definitely get in touch with Cheryl Davey
Thank you.
because we need to get her out there. The both of you out there.
That's right.
Yes.
Julia wants to be heard.
And she was she was the first to have a nationally broadcast cooking show. And yet she also had that childlike presence about herself with a
Yes.
little giggle.
Yes.
Many of you may not know of her or know her, but I do remember she
Yes.
was always so light and so, just a wonderful, lovely energy.
Yes. And she didn't take herself too seriously.
No.
And that's something that I practice myself.
Yes.
I am still in awe of all these messages that I get, and just people say you have a gift, and I said, well, it's just curiosity. It comes down to curiosity.
Exactly.
Yes.
Yeah, and asking the questions. And that's what you're
Exactly.
doing, is you're asking questions and then pausing and waiting for the answer.
Exactly.
So many people, when they pray or they meditate, it's active, active, active. And the secret is to
In the quiet.
is to get it quiet and listen and then trust the message that comes through. I remember when the first time that I had done this, or one of the few times, I would get the message and then I would like, no, that can't be right. That can't be right. And then I would feel this nudge on my shoulder, pay attention. Like,
And
okay,
trust.
Trust.
Yes.
Trust the message. And many people experience it different ways. They might experience it through the writing. Some people hear it. Some people see it. Some people feel it. It depends on their connective style. And it's all good. It's all right. There's no one right way of doing it.
That's right.
It's allowing yourself to be open to your style, your communication style. So
Yes.
for our listeners, you're listening to Inspiring Hope with Lois Herman at WSMN 1590 AM and 95.3 FM. We're here today with Cheryl Davey. And Cheryl, what else would you like to share with some of the work that you do? One of the things I wanted to bring up, you're a dowser. And can you tell us about what is dowsing?
Sure, I'd love to. So I have a trusted pendulum that I have that I use, and that incorporated with my writing validates the information that I'm getting. And if I am trying to get a message and there's a questionable phrase or something, I will use my pendulum that will help guide me to continue with the direction of the writing. And I'll give you an example of that. So I was getting a message for a friend who had lost a loved one, and during the writing, the spirit that came through was trying to get some information across. I got my pendulum out and asked if that person was present, and the message came through that yes. So I needed to make a phone call to my friend to let her know that her loved one was present and with me, and I was able to get yes/no answers from the pendulum. about the circumstances of his passing, and to reassure her that he was safe and happy on the other side with no pain and nothing but love in his heart. So it's an extra tool that I use sometimes if I need to make a quick decision on perhaps a work question or just an everyday life question. The pendulum allows me to ask a yes-no question, and my pendulum will move in a direction that is consistently a yes sign for me or consistently a no sign for me. So it is a tool that is widely used. I will be teaching classes on how to practice with a pendulum.
Nice.
And it is all working with energy.
Yes.
So it's very, very helpful.
Dowsing has been around for eons,
Yes.
many, many years, and a lot of people do use the pendulum. I've trained and I do use them on occasion. I have learned to use my body as a dowsing. I will use my fingers, a finger lock technique
Yes.
for my yes/no anymore because I just don't always have my pendulum handy.
Yes.
And so there's a lot of different techniques that people can use just to get out of your head. And into the energy of the answer instead of overthinking. I think that's what
Exactly.
happens with the dowsing. It's allowing your intuitive wisdom to come through instead of staying stuck in the analysis paralysis that makes you want to think something through.
Exactly.
So we can think it, but what we need to do is also couple it with the energy of our being.
Exactly.
And trust the intuitive energy that comes through.
Sure. The pendulum is also a very, very helpful tool for clearing energy.
Nice.
I can use the pendulum and see if the energy that I'm in, whether I'm presently there or if it's remote, I can check and see if the energy needs to be cleared. If it does, then my pendulum will go in a counterclockwise direction, and it will keep spinning until the energy is cleared. Then I'll say a quick prayer that the universe imparts positive love and light into that space. The pendulum will completely stop and redirect its energy to
Love
a
it.
clockwise direction, and I can feel immediately the
Yeah.
difference. And then it will indicate to me that the clearing is complete.
Absolutely.
And that person has new, beautiful, loving, creative energy in that space.
And we cleared the space in this area here before we started the
That's
show
right.
today.
Yeah.
And it was interesting because I have a technique that I use for energy clearing. And then you immediately pulled out your pendulum and said, "Yep, it worked. It's gone."
Absolutely.
So it's a nice, we all have our tools, and
Absolutely.
it's wonderful.
Yes.
We just need to learn to use the tools
Yes.
that work with us.
That's right. It's nice that you mentioned tools. There are so many ways that people can connect with energy using the tools. Pendulum and writing and affirmations. Positive
Yes.
affirmations are also very, very powerful.
Absolutely.
As well.
Yeah.
Mm.
Back to the words we speak and the words
Yes.
the words that we think, speak, and read.
Yes.
The things that we hear. So, speaking of reading, could you share? You are in the middle of reading Chronicles of Hope, and I would love,
am.
love, love to get your insight, your thoughts on what you have read so far.
Oh, I would be more than happy to. It is a phenomenal book, full and just chock full of inspiration and not only inspiration but motivation. How to make ourselves, better and more loving and helpful to our must start within, and then out in the universe. There are many, many places that need positive energy. And Lois, your information that you've provided is just a very down to earth, easy way of understanding what it is that we're here to do, to serve other people. We need more kindness. We need more assistance with other people who may be going through troubling situations. And I know it is just re-sparked within me the motivation to do more, to provide service to others. And it's interesting. shows perspectives that we may not have thought about before, and I can't say enough good things about Chronicles of Hope. So I'd like to suggest it to your listeners out there. It's a phenomenal book, and see what it stirs within you to make our world a better place.
And thank you so much for that, for your heartfelt insight. I know that it speaks to different people in different ways, and that's by design, because one of the things that these guides have said is, if someone says theirs is the only way, walk away. That we are each called to pay attention to our own inner guidance and our own connection with the divine. So each of us is at a different place on our path, on our journey, and so different of the messages will resonate at different points. And I've had several people who've been sort of editorial assistants on this journey that have read the book several times, and they will say that every time I read it, I get a new awareness, something new pops out at me. And even myself, as I've gone through the messages time and again, first when they were received, and then as I've been gathering them together and then putting them out there, even now I've had a new, almost an epiphany of, oh my goodness, this is an actual guideline for what we need to do right now. Because when they first came through and said humanity may not have much time left, I'm thinking, oh, maybe not much time, maybe 100 years, maybe 1,000 years. No, we are right now. All this chaos that's going on right now, this book is very timely for what is happening this moment. And it's about being aware of the hate and why people are hating and spewing hate when they don't even realize why. They've been programmed to believe in a certain thing that may or may not be true. So the guidance that has come through, as you said, Jesus says we are all one. We need to come back to a place of kindness, compassion for one another. Aurora speaks of forgiveness, to walk away from hate, turn the other cheek and walk away. Those that are spewing hate are stuck in a negative energy. You and I both work with energy, and we've been talking about all the positive energy that's out there, and yet there's also negative energy that interferes with people, and this negative energy is very real as well. So you're talking about clearing space. When we're clearing space, we're clearing negative energy that's there. And so many people who do not keep their energy at a higher vibration are apt to take on negative energies. And that's what we're seeing in this world of crisis and chaos, is it's the negative energy that is creating all of this madness. And if we can elevate our consciousness up to a higher vibrational level, we won't be stuck in that energy. We will be able to shift the energy of this planet to one of peace. And that is the strongest message that's coming through now. It's so timely for what's going on now. And I'm even becoming more aware of, holy cow, I really need to step this up. I need to be able to speak stronger and louder about this instead of being so passive. Well, yeah, these messages came through. I was honored to receive them. La la, here they are. No, they asked me to they implored me, you've got to wake people up before it's too late. And so I'm stepping out a little bit stronger in my energy to implore people to listen, to learn for themselves. Don't be fed I don't like to use the word Kool-Aid, but the people who drank the Kool-Aid thought that they were following a leader, and they all killed themselves. You remember that from so many years ago. There are many people who are drinking the Kool-Aid of hate, and they need to stop it. They need to pay attention. They need to read deeper, look beyond what they've been programmed to believe, and awaken to what is really going on, to shift their energy up so that we can preserve this beautiful, beautiful planet that we live on.
That's right. Yeah. One of the things that the book does as well is we get messages all the time that heighten our awareness.
Yes.
If we just pay attention to the words that people are using, and to and try to not diffuse it, but if we try to just within ourselves, if we see something that could go in a negative direction, even if you're in the grocery store and there's someone is a little agitated or something, just kind of send a prayer and send positive energy to try to diffuse the situation.
Correct.
I mean, we don't certainly want to put ourselves in harm's way, but there are energetic tools that we can use, and it's just sending an intention to say, you know what, please relieve the anxiety that is within that person, and God, please help that person with whatever it is, because everyone does have stress.
Absolutely.
And so it can help alleviate the stress a little bit,
right,
if we just with our thoughts send out positive energy.
And that is so true. I like to use the analogy that if I had an apple sitting on my desk and someone came along and took it, that would be a different energy than me taking the apple and saying, it looks like you could need an apple, you could use this apple, here, take it. So when you're seeing someone who is in stress, in hate, in anger, sending them positive energy is good. We must protect ourselves from being sucked into that energy, from being taken advantage of by that energy. However, as positive spiritual beings, we can send positive, uplifting, prayerful energy to help people to shift. You're absolutely spot on with that. And that's one of the things that the universal energy said, we are all one. When we see these people with so much anger, we feel it. Those of us who are empaths, we're also feeling it. And what we need to do is send them positive so that they can raise their energy to be able to feel a sense of peace and happiness too. They're just stuck in a spiral, and to help them to shift out of that spiral, just like shifting the pendulum, getting it to a neutral point, and then helping them to shift into an uplifted energy. That is so key.
Yes.
And we can do that if we collect together. And this is what the universe is saying. You can shift the energy of this planet to be more positive by collectively sending positive and sending positive to the negative, and yet not allowing yourself to be sucked into the negative. Yeah. Discernment, which is what Samuel, his main message was discernment. Discern for yourself. Do not be a follower. Stand in your spiritual awareness.
Right.
We are coming to the end of our show today. It always goes so fast. Thank you, Cheryl, for being here.
Thank you, Lois, very much for this opportunity.
Thank you, listeners, for being with us. And I hope to see you, hear you, be with you next week on Sunday morning. Meanwhile, look up, stay positive, and be the light in someone's day. God bless.